Hi, Gary Sinclair. If you're a parent, you totally understand getting so frustrated with a young child that you finally say forcefully, okay, we yell, sit still. Or perhaps any of us can have times when we just can't sit still because we're either so excited about something to happen soon, or we drank 3 mocha lattes that we just got to keep moving and talking or staying busy. Been there, done that? Well, in a similar way, much of our culture today makes it really difficult, right, to slow down and just have time to think and ponder, rest, or at least relax a little. The pace of life for most people in a Western-like culture isn't just fast, it's frantic. We've got more activity options than we know what to do with. Television, hello, has hundreds of channels, and kids, especially, seem to have little choice these days regarding what do they do with their free time because the school, community teams, churches, other local groups just keep asking for more and more. And what do parents think? Yeah, we go, God forbid that our kids not take part in what everyone else is doing. I'll bet many of you are familiar, though, with a Bible verse. It's in the 46th chapter of Psalms, verse 10, that simply says, and bet you can repeat it, be still and know that I am God. And if you were to just hear that much of the chapter, you'd naturally expect, oh, this is going to be a chapter about, times that are relaxed and just a flowing description of some beautiful setting where everything is peaceful and relaxed. However, that's not the case. The context of that chapter refers in large part to times of challenge and trouble. Verse 1 says, God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in the time of trouble. And then the next 2 verses speak of potential natural disasters, all of which God could also overcome, but often does not, at least in our time. Then verse 6 speaks of the nations in an uproar and kingdoms falling. Verse 9 talks about war ceasing and enemy weapons being destroyed. And it's only then that we read verse 10, be still and know that I'm God. What does it mean? Slow down. Remember that God, yes, is our fortress. He's a place of safety in the middle of our battles. Now, I got to admit that I too have trouble slowing down, being still, and just thinking about and actually enjoying what I have as a person, as a Christ follower, as someone with purpose and hope. Yeah, even in the middle of some tough times. And while I don't want to admit this either, I don't know what you specifically may be wrestling with in your life or your family's world. But whatever it is in your experiences or mine, we have to slow down if we're going to get proper, healthy perspective about what's going on. See, if one of our cars were to break down, break an axle or blow a tire, and the vehicle is now shaking like crazy because we're still driving, would we speed up? I don't think so. It would be wise. We'd slow down. We'd pull over. We'd say, I got to assess what's going on here. What resources do I have to maybe fix this or get help, regain equilibrium, so to speak, so we can move on? Because see, life in the fast lane all the time does not work. And I realize that life these days, especially for families with children, but not limited to them, is more like a very fast race, like we have in Indianapolis, where the speeds keep getting higher and higher. We went with some of our grandsons to the newly remodeled and updated Indy 500 Museum. It's amazing. It's very cool. It's very well done. Take your kids there. It's impressive. However, there's a room with about 7 or 8 of these video driving setups, and they allow anybody to experience 4 laps on a Indy track where you're driving. You get to pick the speed. And I wasn't going to miss that. However, as I drove my 4 laps, oh yeah, I could never take my hands off the wheel. I mean, I had to intentionally concentrate the entire time because the turns kept coming and the speed was really fast. And I didn't know what was going to exactly come next. See, I can't imagine Jackie or somebody coming up to me during my laps and saying, hey, could we talk about our finances for next year? No, I couldn't stop and think about that. Or when can we meet to do that? I don't know, I'm driving. You see, life brings us problems too, but they can't be handled effectively if our pace is so fast that we have little, if any, time to deal with those things. The context of the be still verse that I read moments ago talks about the earth giving way and its waters roaring. What have we just seen in recent weeks in Texas and then other parts of the world? And then it adds this: the nations are in an uproar. Kingdoms fall, even recently. Conflict and fighting are happening here and literally around the world. Yeah, are there decisions to be made and wise actions to be taken? Of course, that's natural. But see, Psalm 46 is still reminding us that in the middle of all of that, our first and primary key action is to be still first and ponder God's ability. Remember the strength He has to help us overcome. He's God. Psalm 46 continues, He's our refuge and our strength, an ever-present help in times of trouble. Or He makes wars cease to the ends of the earth. You see, God's still in control and big enough, great enough to handle anything we might face. So if you are facing some hard tasks, difficult responsibilities, major challenges, or even a tragedy, first, even for a minute, just be still. Keep being reminded again that it's God who you serve, the God who made everything and everyone. And He's available to be our strength, our reason, and our joy as we face our current mountains, whatever you want to call them. In fact, if he was my dad, he might say for sure, hey, sit still, will you?